Okay, so here I've accessed the Make Believe Comics website, and this is the first screen that pops up, so I need to log in with my Google. I pick my Humble ISD email. Okay, and so this is what it looks like. Now, to stay in line with the timeline, you only need 4 frames. Okay, and so right here, this little plus sign, now I've added 4 frames. Okay, so I'm gonna click number 1, so I make sure I start with my first frame. And this comic will be Newton's first law of inertia. Okay, and then I'm gonna put my name, and I can get started. So to get started, you have all of these choices down here. Now you might not have some of the options that you wanted. That's why yesterday I asked you to access the website, explore the website, and create an outline, because you have limited options as far as your design choices. Okay. So one of the backgrounds that I chose, I can actually show you one that I've already started. Okay. So this is the comic I was working on yesterday as an example. Notice it is a little longer than 4 frames because I needed some more space. So what happened was I used these tools and I would add them. So I found a bike, and when the bike's really big, I click this scale button right here, and I click the bike, and then a tool should show up. The internet's being slow right here. That lets me change the size of the bike. Okay, so now I can make it look like the dude is sitting on the bike. And I put text using these thought bubbles. I said, one sunny day, Bob was going for a joyful bike ride. That's what's happening in the picture, right? It's not a lot of text, but I'm saying, hey, Bob's going for a bike ride on a sunny day. Okay. This is very simple. It's missing some requirements. There's not a lot of color, but it's very simple, and you can still follow the storyline. In my second frame, Bob's bike hits this giant washer. Okay. And if I could add arrows, I would, but I have limited materials, so I make sure that I explain that in my text. So when Bob's bike hits that wheel, his bike stops. But what happens to Bob? Okay, so I said that in the text. Bob was riding his bike down the street when he ran into a loose washer in the middle of the sidewalk. And then here he's screaming, ah! Okay, and he is flying into the next frame. His bike is still stopped right here, okay? Bob eventually falls and says, ouch, that hurt. And so I said, blame it on inertia. And then in my next frame, I explain why we blame it on inertia. Okay? When Bob's bike ran into the loose washer, his bike stopped moving. But Bob did not stop moving. He flew through the air. This is because of inertia. An object in motion, Bob and the bike, will stay in motion unless acted on by an outside force, the loose washer. The outside force affected the motion of the bike, but it did not affect the motion of Bob because it did not come in contact with Bob. The force was only applied to the bike, okay? Not Bob. And that was my first, and I said that right here. The force from the washer affected the bike, but it did not stop the motion of Bob. Okay? You do not have to change your idea. This was just an example, okay? And so I have my first 6 frames. So you need to make sure you save this. So this has already been saved to submit. So hey, I need to submit this to my teacher. I'm going to hit print or email, and it's going to show me what I've done so far. You can take a screenshot if you know how to do that. On my keyboard, I have to use a snipping tool. But on my Chromebook, there's a keyboard shortcut. So you just need to Google what that keyboard shortcut is, and it's very easy to do. It's different for every device. But for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click print. And my print screen is going to pop up. And while that's loading, notice how this says destination. This is destination. I'm not gonna click a printer or whatever. I'm gonna save as a PDF, or you can save it to your Google Drive. When I save it as a PDF, it saves it to my computer. Okay, so you'll click save, and then now I have this on my computer right here. Okay, it's actually on my desktop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Schoology, and hopefully Miss Phillips sent me the assignment so that I can upload it. Okay, so I'm going to go to my project. Newton's laws, checkpoint, Newton's first law, checkpoint, grade number 1, right here. So I'm going to click that. The internet's slow today. And if you want to make sure before you submit, here's the rubric, okay? And this is identical to the final rubric for the final product, okay? This is your rubric, and it's going to be attached to every assignment. So she doesn't have submissions open, but when I submit my assignment, she's going to go through and she's going to click these boxes on things that she liked about my comic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you feedback, especially on the 8 frame. So on Friday, when you submit all 8 frames for Newton's first law, I'm going to give you feedback. You need to go back and fix it. If I ask you to fix something, you need to go back and fix those things. Because then when you submit all 3 final comics for the summative grade at the end of the semester, you should have fixed all of those things. Therefore, you'll have a better grade. Because, hey, she's been looking at my work over time, and I had time to fix it and make it perfect, and now I can upload it and get an A for a test grade. Okay, so that's the goal. I want to make sure that you guys are getting constant feedback from me on your comic, and then if you need help, we can Zoom and I can help. Okay.